Gary, joined today by Gary Bell, Cardiff City, famous player, played for Cardiff over 400 times, just over 400 times, I think, and was with the club from 66 to 74. You're looking well and obviously enjoying life. Gary, when I started to watch you play for Cardiff City, just to give you a bit of a story on it, my dad used to work for Thomas Cook's, and he used to deal with some of the players, sometimes selling them holidays, etc. I think I must have been either maybe 7 or 8 when I started going to watch Cardiff City. My dad had a Pooch 50, little bike, a little moped. He used to sit me on the back of his Pooch 50, and in the pannier on the back of he'd put a tin box, and in a tin box would go a flask of tea, an orange, and last night's Echo for the team news, yeah? And then we go off to the game. So my memories of watching you are kind of really significant moments in my childhood. And I probably would be one of those kids leaning on the front, on the bob end, in the old days, watching you play. As a kid, for me, they're fantastic memories, and I absolutely loved Ninian Park. They were obviously great days for you, because they were, I imagine, they're very much the highlights of your career playing for Cardiff City.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We had some absolutely, we got some great memories. Personally, I got some great memories of Ninian Park, and that's where it all happened, really.
Yes, definitely. I can't get used to the new stadium myself yet, but there we go. I still miss Ninian,
I mean, I'm the new stadium is fantastic, but to me, they all look the same.
Yes.
And I personally, I still miss Ninian Park, to be honest, with all the atmosphere they created, just by being Ninian Park.
Yeah, it was a proper old stadium, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's for sure. And some amazing nights. I mean, a full Ninian was rocking, wasn't it? Gary, you came to City from a club I've never even heard of, right, called Lower Gornal Athletic, which I imagine is a club based in the Midlands.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the transition from, and how did it happen that you went from that club? What level was that at, and then going to Cardiff City?
Well, to start at the beginning, when I was still a schoolboy, 14 or 15 years old, I was asked by my local club, Halesoe in town, the town I was born in, to go and attend training sessions. They used to train on a Tuesday and Thursday evening, and they used to play the first day played in the old West Midland League, which was a good quality league in those days, and reserves played in a league called the Worcestershire Combination, also a good league, plenty of good clubs, good local clubs there. So I played quite a bit for Halesoe in town reserves. Got into the first team while I was still at school, which is quite a thing really in the local newspapers, like schoolboy picked for Halesoe in town and all that.
Yeah.
And my debut for them was the Bromsgrove Rovers, a local derby. Great. I played a few games, and then the following season, early on, I was invited for the trial at Arsenal. I went down to Arsenal at the London Colney training ground, which they still operate from Arsenal. Had a trial there. Billy Wright was the manager, the Old England and Wolverhampton centre half.
Yeah.
Captain. But nothing came of that. I only played one trial game there, and that was it. Never heard anything from them. So I continued playing for Halesoe in town. Then I was invited to join West Bromwich Albion, the team I've supported all my life, as a 16-year-old. So I jumped at the chance of joining West Brom. Jimmy Hagan was the manager and the old Sheffield United player. Good player in his day. Big mate with Jimmy Schooler.
Okay.
But I was there for a couple of seasons. Got in the youth side there. We played in the FA Youth Cup. We had a good run in there. We got to the semi-final once particularly, yeah. But then West Brom was never really interested in signing me as a full-time pro. I was playing in the same team as young full-time professionals at that time in the youth side. Played for the A side on a Saturday morning. But then when I was playing for West Brom, a lad named Fred Whittle knocked on our front door, my mum and dad's front door one night.
Yeah.
And he was the manager of Lower Gornal Athletic. Played in the West Midland League, the same as Halesoe in town, and Stourbridge, Kidderminster, all the big local clubs.
Yeah.
He wanted me to sign for Lower Gornal. So my dad, I'm a big West Brom fan. Oh no, just West Brom might sign you. Just have another 6 months there. But Fred Whittle was very convincing. And he said, we got a good little team, Gary. He said, all I need is a player on the left wing with a good left foot get the crosses in, but our centre forward mainly, George Andrews.
Okay.
So so I decided to sign for Lower. I went there, had a great time, right? I had a great 8 months, I suppose. And we played Worcester City one day away in the FA Cup. Now, Worcester City were a few leagues above us in the old Southern League. We went there and beat them 3-0.
Wow.
I had a good game.
Yeah.
Went down the line 3 times, beat the fullback, 3 good crosses. George Andrews, a hat-trick of headers, 3-0.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, it was in all the local papers, like, big shock at City, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, just afterwards, George Andrews went to Cardiff City from Lower Gornal. And obviously, Jimmy Schooler was the manager. He'd been keeping an eye on Lower Gornal. And a few months later, I was asked if I would go down to Cardiff, have a chat with Jimmy Schooler, with a view to signing for Cardiff City, full-time club. Fantastic, So Fred Whittle, the Lower Gornal manager, along with myself and my father, we drove down to Cardiff, came down to Cardiff one Tuesday afternoon, had a chat with Jimmy Schooler, everything was agreed, fantastic. So, and I signed there and then that day. That particular day, the day I signed, was a Welsh Cup tie at Ninian Park against Swansea City.
Oh, dear.
In them days, Swansea Town.
Yes.
And they had a lad playing on the left wing called Jimmy McLaughlin.
Right.
Now, I just signed for Cardiff City, so we stayed obviously to watch the game. So the staff at the main grandstand at Ninian Park. Cardiff was 3-0 up just after half time. And this Jimmy McLaughlin was on the halfway line, just in front of the benches, by the tunnel there, the old Cardiff City. And Don Murray came along, had a bit of a skirmish on the touchline. And as they both got up from the deck, Don just put his head forward towards, never made contact. McLaughlin went down like a second goal.
Yeah.
He came over, Don Murray sent off. Swansea came back into the tie, scored the equaliser just before the end, 3-3. Extra time played, Swansea scored twice, 5-3. Cardiff out. So that was my introduction to Cardiff City and the Swansea City League.
Yeah. So Jimmy Schooler, your first meeting with Jimmy Schooler, what were your first impressions?
Well, he was a gentleman when we first met. Absolute gentleman. I mean, the day I signed for Cardiff, he went to Everton and he said, "We've got digs sorted out here, Gary. It's not far from Ninian Park, by Victoria Park. I was in digs. All that was taken care of, no problem at all. As time went on, I actually got to know him, but his domineering way came to the fore, really.
I don't know if you can see the picture behind me there, Gary, but I don't know what match that is, but that's kind of of that era.
I think it was against Brentford, actually, in their FA Cup match at Ninian Park.
Oh, well done. Wow.
I think they beat us 2-0 that day. It was a hell of a wet pitch in Ninian Park that day. I think it was Brentford, and I think they won 2-0, to be honest.
Who's that behind you?
Leighton Phillips.
It is Leighton Phillips, yeah. Young skinny Leighton Phillips. What a good player. Good player. Yeah.
Still better mate today. He often rings me and asks, I think.
Oh, right. I mean, were you, when you signed for City, were the players? Were you thinking, kind of, this is quite a big move? This is a decent club, with some really good players. Were you sort of in awe of anyone, or were you nervous about things, or?
In those days, I mean, you would in awe of all, especially the first team players, the first team regulars, because the first team dressing room was sank to sank, I mean, nobody went in there without being invited in there. There was about 15 players in the first team dressing room, and the rest of us were in the away changing room on the opposite side of the tunnel. And I mean, in those days, if a first team player spoke to you, "Morning, Gary, how are you?" It was fantastic. I must be doing okay. It was that sort of feeling in those days. I mean, if a first team player got involved with you, you were in awe of them, really. Yeah. The apprentices did all the manual work. Obviously, they took part in training every morning along with the first team and second team squads. But afterwards, in the afternoons, they were designated certain jobs: cleaning boots, cleaning toilets, cleaning the corridors, helping the groundsman out on the pitch, sweeping the stands underneath the Grange End, because that used to be
Oh yeah,
railway sleepers, the terraces,
yeah.
and the gaps. There used to be gaps between the steps, and
Mm.
all the rubbish that used to be thrown down there. And actually, doing it quite well because they found quite a bit of money under the box bank, and that was all pocketed, like, and so they
Yeah.
were quite happy. But yeah, they had a lot of work to do. The apprentices,
Do,
but did it
do,
great.
if you don't mind me asking, do you remember what your initial salary was when you first signed?
Yeah, when
About.
I first went to Cardiff City, my first contract was £25 basic wage,
And
and
in,
then it was a £10 appearance money. If you were in the first team, you got a £10 appearance fee, and it was £4 for a win and £2 for a draw.
you played with John Charles a few times then.
Yeah. Played with John, and especially at Welsh League level, because he was coming towards the end of his career. And we played at Cairo one day. Cairo, my stag, January, Saturday afternoon. You can imagine, up in my stag. The wind was howling. It had been raining all week.
Yeah.
So John Charles was our captain, centre half. So he said, we're playing at Cairo. He said, from the San Siro and the Barnabo to Cairo in my stag. He said, but never mind. He said, it's football match, and we're here to win the game. And John, 100% professional, absolutely brilliant. Led from the front like he always did. And he was playing centre half, as I say. I was on the left wing. Their goalkeeper got the ball. In those days, they could bounce to the edge of the box and kick it, which he did. So John was behind their centre forward, probably just inside his own half. And as the ball was dropping over the centre forward's head, he shouted, "Gary, this is your ball." And he chested it, not headed it, but chested it 60 yards right to my left foot. Absolutely.
Ooh.
And I will never, ever forget that moment. Absolutely brilliant.
You said you got to know Jimmy School a little bit later on, and you saw another side of him. What were the kind of things you try and avoid doing to sort of stay in Jimmy Schooler's good books?
Well, first of all, the first thing, on a Monday morning,
Yeah.
training was always, we knew what was going on a Monday morning, five-a-side, right? On Jubilee Park, opposite Ninian Park.
I know, yeah.
So some Luke Clayton and usually Richie Morgan sent it off,
Yeah, yeah.
understudy with Don Murray.
Yes.
They were charged with picking the five-a-side team. So driving down to the ground on a Monday morning, I'd be thinking, oh, please don't let me be on Schooler's side this morning. Let me have a nice, easy Monday morning. Please don't pick me on Schooler's side. Because if you were on his side, it was hard work. It was 2 hours non-stop running. If you're on another side, you can have a little breather, have a little walk, take it easy. Although you still did your training, it wasn't so intense as when you're on his side. So that's one of the things I remember. But I mean, I got to be fair. Jimmy Schooler converted me to left back.
Yeah. How did he explain that to you? What was the rationale behind that?
Well, he called me into the office one day. Again, a lot of this had to do with playing five-a-side matches across on Jubilee Park. But I don't know, but it wasn't intentional. But I just used to find myself playing towards the back in the left back or central defensive position, even though I was a left winger in the normal terms. Anyway, we went on for 2 or 3 months, five-a-sides, whatever. Wasn't really making much progress as a left winger. And he called me into his office one day. He said, "Gary, we've noticed, Luke Clayton and I, that you like to play towards the back. Would you like a game at left back in the reserve?" I said, "Yeah, whatever you think's best." He said, "Right." He said, "There's a combination game away at Norwich City on Wednesday. He said, I'm going to put you in at left back. See how you go. Let me know how you enjoy it or not." So we played at Norwich and drew 3-3. And they had a right winger named Jerry Mannion, used to play for Wolves. He went from Wolves to Norwich. He's a good player. I had a good game that day, and I had a good report from the second team trainer, John Marsh. Used to have to put in a report after every game for every player. So a couple of days later, school said, "How did you get on left back? You had a good report from John Marsh." I said, "I enjoyed it. It was good." "Right," he said. "We're going to put you in at left back now, either Welsh League or combination games for the next couple of months, see how it goes." And to be honest, I took to it like a duck to water. Loved it. They came back from Australia. They had a bad start of the season. I think they lost 4-0 at home on the first game. It might have been Palace, I think. I can't quite remember. Anyway, after 3 games, they hadn't won a game, and they were, obviously bottom of the league. Anyway, we played Bury away, and I was marking Greg Farrell, and we drew 3-3. Good reports in the Echo the next night. I had a good report, and from then on, I was in the team. My normal room sharing partner was Brian Harris.
Brian Harris, he came from Everton to us, is that right? Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
And he was a top player, and I think he played in cup finals for Everton, is that right?
He played in the 1966 Cup final for Everton. Yeah. And they beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-2. And then Harry Catterick, who was manager at Everton at the time, broke that side up the following season because he thought that there was a few getting a little bit too old for the first division. Brian Harris came to Cardiff City. In my opinion, probably the best signing he ever made. Cardiff. What a great player. And what a great professional, Brian Harris. Best, he just, the way he approached the match on and off the pitch, so professional in every way. And, being a Liverpoolian, a born comic, So,
yes.
But absolutely brilliant, Brian. Yeah, he made me a better left back, and he made Don Murray a better centre half just by talking to us on the pitch. We got another little thing in common, Brian Harris and myself. Brian Harris came from Everton and made his debut at Plymouth Argyle away and lost 7-1.
Oh, yeah.
And my debut for Cardiff City was against Wolverhampton Wanderers away at Molineux, lost 7-1.
Ah.
And I gave 2 penalties away to make it worse.
Oh, no.
And being a West Brom supporter really rubbed it in.
Oh, wow. Yeah, of course. Yeah. That deadly rivals. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I got on the phone to my dad, West Brom supporters, obviously. I said, I'm playing tomorrow night at Wolves. Oh, he said, right, I'll get in touch with your uncles and your cousins and whatever. So team coach arrived at Molineux, got off the coach, nervous, as you can imagine, my first game, debut. And my mum and dad were there, uncles, cousins, aunties, all in the blue and white scarves, the Bromwich Albion scarves, because the same colours as Cardiff City, obviously.
Yeah.
We're Cardiff supporters, right? Anyway, all the best. I said, yeah. My mother said, do your best. Don't worry about it. Oh, okay. All right, Mum. I'll see you later. After the game, so bad, right? Faces. Oh my God. It was problematic to say the least. But things got better after that, Steve.
In your defence, Wolves had an unbelievable side, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they did have a good side. Yeah.
Just wanted to ask you about Dave Carver. Because you and Dave Carver became that partnership for quite a long time at City. So Dave Carver and the partnership, how good a player was he, and how important was that partnership between you?
Dave Carver was a quality right fullback. Never had a bad game. Never brilliant, but never had a bad game. Dave Carver did his job perfectly. I mean, Dave was probably the more defensive-minded fullback compared to myself. I mean, Dave was more of the one who very rarely went over the halfway line, whereas I was always encouraged to get forward on the left-hand side. What they used to call it nowadays, the overlapping fullback. That was the sort of game we played. And Dave Carver was solid as a rocket right back, alongside Don Murray, Brian Harris, our 2 centre defenders. And that was a good back four, a great back four.
And who would the keeper have been then? Was that Bob Wilson?
It was Fred Davis at that
Fred
time.
Davis, yeah.
Fred Davis, and then Bill Irwin came in.
Yeah, of course.
He also came in.
Yeah.
Good keepers, all of them. Good keepers.
That defence you're talking about, Bell, Carver, Murray, Harris, it's pretty decent, isn't it? I mean, that's probably played quite a key role in the success that the club started to have. I would have thought.
Oh, I mean that was what our side was built on, really. That we were the rock at the back, and we didn't give that many goals away, to be honest. It was a great back four, and also, gelled well with the midfield. Well, as the team as a whole, really. But I mean, in midfield, we had Peter King, Paddy Jones, Bobby Woodruff, Mel Sutton. Yeah. Mel Sutton, what a great player. The ball winner of the side. If you wanted a tackler, Mel Sutton every time.
Any particular kind of moments spring to mind for you there when great matches for City at home or away, I suppose?
Well, yeah, I mean, we had, talking about Arsenal, we drew Arsenal in the third round of the FA Cup in the January. And there was 54,000 at Ninian Park.
Wow.
We drew 0-0.
Yeah.
The replays in those days was immediately, just a few days later of the following week. So we played at Highbury on the Tuesday night, and there was 54,000 there as well at Highbury. They beat us 2-0 that night, but we gave a good account of ourselves in both games. But I mean, these are games that stick out in your memory, Also, Leeds United, when we played Leeds United in Ninian Park in the FA Cup after. To earn the right to play Leeds, we played Sunderland in the game before, the round before. Played at Ninian Park, and it was the year of the old electricity strikes. So there was no floodlights allowed in those days in the winter, so they were all early kickoffs.
Yeah.
So we played at Ninian Park on the Saturday, drew 1-1. The replay was at Roker Park on the following Tuesday. Full house there, 40-odd thousand at Roker Park. Great atmosphere, as it always was. One of my favourite grounds, Roker Park. Brilliant place to play. We were 1-up for ages. And Bobby Kerr, their captain, scored the equaliser about 2 minutes from time. So made it 1 each, obviously. Went to extra time, no more score, 1-1. So a second replay was required. And we stayed in Sunderland that evening. And the arrangement was the second replay, the third match, was at Main Road, Manchester on the Thursday. So we played Ninian Park on the Saturday, Roker Park on a Tuesday, third game at Main Road, Manchester on the Thursday afternoon. We won 3-1, and then we played Leeds at home in the next round. So that particular, we had 4 games in 8 days that week.
Wow. Yeah.
There was always a few games in the FA Cup. We went to either 2 or 3 replays in those days.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen so much now, obviously, but
no, people are too impatient now, aren't they? It's all about let's get it over with, golden goal and replays and all that stuff.
That's right.
Right. Can you see that now behind me?
I can. Yeah.
Do you want to have a go? How many can you name it there then?
Right. Back row: Bobby Ferguson, Dave Carver, Don Murray, John Toshak, Richie Morgan, Graham Coldrick, Norman Dean, Steve Derritt, Malcolm Clark. And the front row, myself on the left-hand side there, Barry Jones, Ronnie Bird, Fred Davis, Brian Harris, Bob Wilson, Peter King, Bryn Jones, and Leslie Lee.
Well done. Good man. I know you obviously played with the side, but so you remember them well. But how good was that squad?
Oh, it was a great squad. I was just about breaking into the first team squad there, because Bobby Ferguson, as I said, was the regular left back. But Barry Jones, great player, came to us from Plymouth. When Barry came to us from Plymouth, he was an out-and-out right winger. But again, Jimmy Schooler moved him inside, right side of midfield, and that extra bit of space he found, proved too valuable to Barry, and he was a better player himself and a better player for the club in itself. It was a good move for him.
So, and in the back row, there's a certain, is that Toshak up there with the huge?
Yeah, Toshak there, yeah.
You spot him from his almost American footballer looking shoulders before anything else.
Yeah. Got his coat hanging on again.
What was the when Toshak joined City as a kid? I think, did he?
Yeah. Tosh joined straight from school.
Yeah.
Went to school in Canton, lived in Canton, joined Cardiff straight from school. And when I came, he was just about a first-year professional then. So, me and Tosh grew up together, really.
Could you tell he was going to be good?
You couldn't tell he was going to be as good as he eventually became. He was a little bit gangly and a bit awkward. Great in the air, always great in the air. I remember the times, again, when John Charles was with us. In an afternoon, we'd finished training in the morning. And Bryn Jones, who was also in that picture, and myself, and a couple of other lads, John Charles would say, can you come back this afternoon for an hour, you four, just to knock some crosses in? from left and right. So he had John Charles and Tosh, showing him how and when to attack a ball coming from the left and coming from the right.
Oh, right.
You know, just showing him what to do and just get his timing right on his runs and the way he jumped and held in the air. But I mean, that's another thing. John Charles with Tosh, great, super. So Tosh went on to Liverpool, and the rest is history.
And of course, that famous partnership with Keegan and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
You must have come across him over the years since then. Are you still on kind of good terms with him?
Yeah. I've seen him down a couple of the City games quite recently, actually, and last season. He's always an ex-teammate. He's always a mate. You know, I know he's gone on to manage and play for some big club. But he's still there for a chat.
Don Murray there in the back. Now, when I was a kid, Don Murray was, for me, he was a giant. But actually, having met him later on, he's actually shorter than I am. But my recollections of him as a player, he was an absolute giant. He just had that presence, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you get that a lot, Steve. I mean, when you see players on the pitch, you know, in the strip and whatever, they do look bigger than they actually are. And Don was one of these cases because he was a man mountain, really. And although you say, in actual fact, he's not that tall, he gave the impression of being a big, strong lad, which he was a big, strong lad, you know. And what a great centre half for Cardiff.
Yeah, absolutely. Different world in those days. I suppose some of the things that used to happen on the pitch. I think there was the tradition of introducing yourself to your opposition winger or striker.
Yeah.
Early on in the match.
Yeah. Well, that was probably Jimmy Schooler's last instruction before you went out on the pitch at 10-3 to warm up. You know, I mean, you see the players these days. They're out on the pitch an hour before kick-off, going to exercises. Well, we never did that. That was unheard of, really. We did a few looseners in the dressing room prior to kick-off, but we went out at 10-3 to do some, good stretches and a couple of sprints and whatever, and you're ready then. But
what was the instruction then, Gary?
The last instruction before you went out at 10-3, right? Especially Dave, Gary, those fullbacks. You know what to do. First tackle, make it count. Let him know you're there. You know, in other words, kick the winger. which we did. I mean, you got to be a little bit subtle about it, but your first tackle, wherever on the pitch, and whoever was involved, that was the norm in those days. Make your first tackle count.
But they would know it was coming, wouldn't they?
Absolutely, they knew it was coming, but they had to take it. Yeah.
Can you explain for younger people watching this about the difference between sort of bookings and sending offs and substitute situation in those days as well? That was quite different, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the time I joined Cardiff, substitutes had just been introduced into the game, to be honest. I think it was 1965 that was introduced.
Yeah.
One,
was it?
There was only one substitute allowed.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah.
And if a player went off, he had to go off injured. He couldn't just be replaced. If he was having a bad time on the pitch, right, we'll take him off, we'll put the sub on. That didn't happen in those days. He had to be injured. There was only one substitute allowed for quite a long time. Yeah. Well, if a goalkeeper got injured, one of the outfield players had to go in and perform in goal.
Did that happen for us? Did that happen with City when you were playing?
It didn't. No, it never happened for us, to be honest.
Right. Who would that have been? Do you know if that had happened to us? Who was going to be? Ronnie Bird.
Our official substitute goalkeeper, because he always fancied himself in goal, Birdie, flying around in front of between the posts. So he was the official one. If a keeper got injured, Birdie was the goalkeeping sub.
Did he used to practice in training a little bit then?
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah, usually at the end of training. Right, I'm going in goal now to catch a few crosses and punch a few over the bar. I could never imagine Birdie in goal, to be honest. But
He's not that tall. But I don't remember him being that tall.
No, he was only about 5'8". But there we are. It never came to anything. But he was our nominated sub goalkeeper.
I've got to take you on to that famous night with Real Madrid. So again, I'm there with my dad. Okay, And I remember how packed it was. And like I was saying to you earlier, we'd take this, my mum used it as a sewing box or something. We used to take it with us because it was metal. And we'd have everything in it, including last night's echo for the team news. But I'd stand on it during the game.
Yeah.
So I'm standing on it now next to my dad. And then, you know, that moment and that amazing moment with Clarkey. So for me as a fan, it's, you know, it'll always stay with me. And I love that picture of that header. It used to be on the Bob Bank. It was it was a sponsorship thing. It was just unbelievable. Yeah. But for you as a player, talk me through the Real Madrid match.
Well, it was a fantastic build-up. I mean, we beat Nantes in the previous round. Nantes came to Cardiff, the Ninian Park, and for 15 minutes we couldn't get a kick of the ball. They were out of the trap like line, one touch, two touch football. They went one up after a couple of minutes, and we couldn't get near them. But eventually, after 15 minutes or so, we started getting into the game. Got the equaliser, went in front. Eventually won that game 5-1 at home.
Wow!
I went to Nantes for the second leg, right? The replay, second leg 2 weeks later, and we won 2-1 there. Brilliant. We absolutely murdered them that night. Expected the fast start, which they provided. Weathered it, knew what was coming, you know, we expected it, and got over it, and scored. Tosh and Clarkey scored the goals, and we won 2-1 over there. I would say that's probably one of our best ever performances in Europe. But that match there, we won that, and then the draw came out. Cardiff City played Real Madrid. Well, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
How, you know, Real Madrid now obviously, you know, they're one of the premier kind of clubs in world football. Was it exactly the same then? Were they that big?
The club itself was obviously just as big then as it is now.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest. I think the team that we played against that time was not the best Real Madrid of all time, or far from it. There was a couple of players there probably weren't good enough for Real Madrid at that time. But nevertheless, I mean, there was still, you know, cup winners in Spain, which got them into the Cup Winners' Cup. I think they finished second in the league that particular year. But I mean, since then, they've gone on to fantastic things, as we all know. But that particular tie, I mean, once the draw was made, all the talk was in Cardiff, how many tickets can you get? How many tickets can you get? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, my dad rang up. Well, your uncles and cousins have seen the draw. We're all coming out to Cardiff, like, we need a few tickets. So. But that was the way it was. I mean, they all got a ticket. I went to this school and he somehow got, I think it was 10 tickets for me, you know, which includes obviously for all the family coming down from the Midlands. But
it was a massive crowd, wasn't it?
Well, the official attendance was 47,500.
Yeah.
But we all said there's got to be at least 63,000.
Because you
could not throw your hat in the place.
No. You couldn't move because I remember I think I was carried pretty well. I was kind of carried out of the ground, you know.
Yeah. Well, when we came down the tunnel, you know, to go out onto the pitch prior to the game, one thing that struck me, obviously coming down the tunnel, it's the Bob Bank you see first of all, and you could just see.
Just goes back and back and back, doesn't it?
Just faces. You couldn't see anybody's shoulders or arms or anything like that. It was just a sea of faces, and it was absolutely jam-packed.
Yeah.
But what a night. What a night.
And who were you marking?
Amancio, I was marking. Spanish international.
Yeah.
You know, he had a good reputation, but I had a fair game that night against him. I had a good game. So I was quite happy the way it worked out.
Were you involved in the goal? I think you were. Were you involved at the very beginning?
I was involved in the goal, actually,
yeah.
I mean, I've said it a few times over the years. But,
I bet you have. Sorry.
It's all right. It's got better over the years, Steve. It's good to hear now, right?
Okay.
I won the ball with a great tackle inside our half, right? Beat 4 or 5, probably 6 Real Madrid players. Knocked it inside to Bobby Woodruff.
Yeah.
And he sent a long ball down the wing. Nigel Rees broke between 2 defenders, got to the byline. Great first touch. Cross on the run. He was good. He had a great left foot, nice. First time cross, probably, I don't know, penalty spot area. And Clarkey came in and just finished it off with a great header.
Yeah.
And the noise, as that ball hit the back of the net, that's the biggest noise that I've ever heard in my life, without any shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And to be fair, we were so much on top that night, we should have won 3 or 4. We should have been Real Madrid 4-0.
Which obviously became crucial when it got to the second leg.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Which was a different affair altogether, I think, wasn't it, really?
It was great to be, honestly, it is great to be at Real Madrid because they can never take that away from you. You know, you're part of the side that beat Real Madrid, part of the Cardiff City side that beat Real Madrid. And that's with it for always. But it could have been so much better. But anyway, we went to the Bernabeu for the second leg 2 weeks later. 0-0 half time. No problem. We hadn't had any frights first half, like no near misses or anything. And the referee over there. I mean, we had some referees in Europe in those days, and this one was a beauty. He was giving them everything. He couldn't wait for them to score because he gave them a goal from whatever incident it was. It was a dodgy incident, but they scored and went on to score a second. So obviously we lost 2-1 on aggregate. But you know, we weren't disgraced in any way. Over the 2 legs, we were the better side. We should have won it, really.
Yeah, I mean, because like those days, I mean, I think when you were at City, I think it's right. I think you won the Welsh Cup 7 times.
Yeah.
And the other time you were runner-up, you know. So we were pretty good in the Welsh Cup, weren't we?
Oh, brilliant in the Welsh Cup, yeah. Because I mean, obviously the carrot for winning the Welsh Cup
was Europe.
It was being involved in Europe.
Yeah. I miss those days now.
Great,
you know.
Great competition, that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fantastic. As a fan, it was fantastic as well, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we went to some super places abroad. We went to, obviously, Moscow, Torpedo, in the early days. The match was played in Tashkent, actually, because Moscow was frozen.
Was that the replay game that went to Tashkent? Wasn't there one game that went to a replay in Tashkent as well?
Yeah. That particular try, we won 1-0. I wasn't playing in either game, but I was part of the squad that travelled abroad. We won 1-0 at Ninian Park, lost 1-0 in Tashkent, and then the third game was in West Germany.
Right.
And we won 1-0. Norman Dean scored a goal.
I suppose, really looking back on it, Gary, I mean, that was one of the great reasons to play for Cardiff City because, you know, because of being in Wales and having a good chance of winning the Welsh Cup.
Yeah.
It got you into Europe. You wouldn't have got that probably at other English clubs, I guess, or unlikely to.
I mean, that was a big carrot for Jimmy Schooler in his quest when he went to buy new players, or you know, was after new players. I mean, that was one of the reasons that Ian Gibson joined the club. Ian Gibson, one of the absolute brilliant, class artist, absolutely class player midfield, right? Superb. And I think that was the thing that swayed Gibby to sign for Cardiff.
Where did he come from, Gary?
Sorry?
Where did we sign him from?
Coventry City.
Okay, yeah. And he was known as the Maestro, wasn't he? His nickname was the Maestro.
Yeah. Okay, well, a little story about Gibby, right? It's quite clean, this program, isn't
it? Yeah. Family audience.
In Europe, we got drawn one year against Larnaca from Cyprus. We were played at home first, obviously the second leg away. So it was the first round, so it was quite early on in the season. They came to Cardiff, Ninian Park. We won 8-0. Right, so game's over really. So we played 2 weeks later in Cyprus against Larnaca. So the travel itinerary went up on the board Thursday of the fight of the game, and we were playing in London somewhere. So we were traveling Heathrow straight after the game, flying to Cyprus, staying there till the following Friday, and the game was on the Wednesday afternoon. So we got there obviously middle of the night. Woke up the next morning, looked out of the window to the hotel, beautiful 5-star hotel, right on the beach in Famagusta. We stayed.
I've been there, yeah.
It was Famagusta, part of Cyprus then, but I mean.
Yeah, of course it all changed, yeah.
Anyway, beautiful resort, Famagusta. Few bars, few restaurants. Weather was great, 70, 80 degrees, beautiful. So on the Tuesday night, prior to the game, we done our training during the morning, stroke afternoon, and had an evening meal, and 4 or 5 of us, Brian Harris, Don Murray, Bobby Woodruff, Ian Gibson and myself, decided to go for a little stroll, have a stroll in the evening. And Jimmy Schooler was in the restaurant there and just going out for a walk, boss, okay? He said, yeah, 10 o'clock in bed tonight, we got a game tomorrow. Don't be late after 10 o'clock. Okay, no problem. So off we went, found this little bar in the corner of a nice little road. Sat down. Only had a couple of shandies, literally a couple of shandies, right? Plus we're playing the next day. Anyway, we were chatting away, and the time was going on, and somebody looked at the watch. It's 10 past 10. Ooh. We should have been in at 10 o'clock, right? Hot-footed back to the hotel. So we're approaching the front of the hotel, and we can see Jimmy Schooler and Fred Dewey and Viv Dewey, the chairman and his co-chairman and his son, and their wives in the foyer of the hotel. We can't go in that way. Let's go around the back so we can get in the kitchen area. So we were on the back of the hotel, found the door open, great. All we got to find now is a lift, and we're okay. But Ian Gibbs said, hang on a minute, lad. He said, I've got to have a pee. I'm dying for a pee. So he couldn't find a toilet. But outside the kitchen area, remember the old milk churns you used to see on the side of the roads and the track? There's 3 or 4 of these outside the kitchen entrance. Yeah. And on the side of them, soup. He said, look, I'm sorry. He said, so he lifted one of the lids of these urns and tea into the soup. Right. Found a lift, upstairs, everybody in bed, job done, no problem. In this hotel, there was a load of American holidaymakers, tourists, and they're quite loud at the best of times, as you know. So anyway, we were having our pre-match meal, 12 o'clock in the restaurant, with these crowd of American tourists, a couple of tables up around from us. And one of the Americans shouted over to the waiter, hey waiter, what's the soup of the day? He said, oh sir, it's pea soup, sir. We looked at each other. Mate, never know who that is. But that would give me, but what a player. Fantastic player.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the most exciting kind of mercurial talents. Really, a delight for football fans.
Absolutely.
You never really knew what he was going to do, which is kind of lovely, really.
Yeah, yeah.
So as you continued through with Cardiff City, obviously the Real Madrid was the one that springs to mind. What are the great moments? If you pick 2 or 3 games where were really kind of summed up your time with Cardiff City, the big ones.
Well, as I said, I always enjoyed playing at Sunderland. Roker Park was a favourite ground of mine, and we went there one year. Jim Montgomery was in goal. That's the lad who played in the cup final. We beat him 4-0 at Roker Park, and I scored a goal that day, which always stood out. I mean, that's a great result anytime, 4-0 away from home. But at Sunderland again at Roker Park.
You've got to talk us through the goal, Gary. It must have been a screamer from 30 yards.
It was a screamer, 35 yards actually. Yeah. Actually, it got a slight deflection off. Remember Cecil Irwin played right back for them? It took the slightest deflection off Cecil Irwin, probably 10 yards inside the box. And in the papers the following day, Irwin, OG. I thought,
man.
Oh,
yeah.
Stop it. Yeah. And another goal, my first goal for Cardiff City was at Carlisle United away. We went up to Carlisle. Tosh was playing, Clarkey was playing, and we won 1-0. And we won 2-1 actually. I scored the winner, second goal, and that's another one that always sticks out in your mind. But another game that obviously not a great game as far as Cardiff City were concerned, but it was a great match on the night when we went to Sheffield United. I'm afraid they beat us 5-1, but the lead up to that match, which was whoever went up. 3 games before that, we played Watford at home. Watford was struggling towards the bottom end of the table. Expected to beat them, no problem. If we'd have won that match, we'd have wanted 1 point from 2 away games, Sheffield United and Luton Town away. We played great that day against Watford. Did everything but score. Hit the post, hit the bar, the keeper. Mike Walker was the keeper. He made a few great saves. They broke away last 5 minutes, stuck the ball in the net. We lost 1-0. So we still wanted 3 points from 2 away games. Because in those days, it was 2 points for the win.
Of course, yeah.
So Sheffield United away, and they were up there with us. They were second, and we were third, or the other way around. So we went there, and they beat us 5-1 at the end of the day. But Bramall Lane that night was rocking, 40-odd thousand in there. And that's the time when Bramall Lane was the Yorkshire cricket ground as well. So the one side was open.
Okay.
It was just, the touchline was like roped off. And it was we were literally playing on a cricket ground in those days at Bramall Lane. But great atmosphere. We lost 5-1. But you know, it was one of the games that stick in your mind. Well, on that time, it was a bad result.
Yeah. And that would have gone into what that would have been to go into what is now the Premiership, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
That's how big it was.
That's how big it was. And then the following season, Sheffield United went up that season. We drew them in the third round of the FA Cup at Bramall Lane. Went there and won 2-1.
Yeah.
That's football for you, isn't it?
If only, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Was Jimmy Schooler there for your entire career at Cardiff City?
Yes, he was. Yeah, he signed me at Cardiff City, as we said before, and he got the sack probably 1973, stroke 74, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and then Franco Farrell came in as manager. Not the best person, in my opinion, Franco. But his first day in charge, had a meeting in the first team dressing room, all staff. And his first words were, "I'm Franco Farrell, the new Cardiff City manager. There's certain players been here too long." And he looked at me, John Murray, one or two others. So he said, "Right, after another few words, we'll have a practice match. This is the first team, and this is the reserve." So he read the first team, and all the lads from the reserves, in our, 2 weeks previous, were in the first team. Don Murray, myself, a few of the others, Bobby Woodruff, were in the reserves. We went out and played this practice match, and we won 7-0. But he stuck to his guns, Franco Farrell, and he changed the team around. He wasn't there long, mind, because he went to the Middle East after a few months. And then, who came in there? Who came as coach with Franco Farrell? Jimmy lived in Cambridge. Remember his name, Steve?
Not Jimmy Andrews, no.
I forget his surname.
Anyway. Yeah.
But I mean, but things went downhill from there on, and
the writing was on the wall, I suppose.
Writing was on the wall then. Yeah, the team was breaking up in after that time.
Yeah, and then not long after that did you go to Newport? Or was it Hereford then?
I went on loan to Hereford for a month.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the season, Colin Anderson was the manager then. Great lad, Colin Anderson. Super football man.
Good manager, yeah.
I was there a month. I played about 6 games of that month. I think we won 4 and drew 2, which kept them in the league, clear of relegation. And at the end of the month, I came out to Cardiff. Colin said, "Gary," said, "I'll keep in touch in the summer. We're definitely coming in for you for next season. Don't sign for anybody else." He said, "I'll let you know what's happening." So I went down to the grounds, down the city, after my loan spell had finished at Hereford, and they said, "Oh no, we want 50,000 for you." I said, "Oh, come on." I said, "Hereford are willing to pay." I said, "But they're only a small club, Hereford. Although we're a progressive club, they haven't got that sort of money to throw away on one player in those days." But they wouldn't ship from their. So after a few weeks, they called me back into the office. "Gary, we reduced your fee. Whatever Hereford come in with an offer, you can go." So I phoned Colin Addison when I got back home, told him the story. Right, he said, give it a few days, Gary, I'll be in touch. Went over the paper shop the following morning, right, just for the local Daily Mirror or whatever it was. Looked at the back page, Colin Addison is sacked at Hereford. I thought, oh, God, that's all I need.
Yeah,
that was that out of the window.
Yeah.
But then, the following season, then I went on loan for 3 months at Newport County. And after that 3 months, I signed permanent.
Yeah.
So that was it.
It's a nice little ground, Hereford, Edgar Street. You know, it's kind of
Lovely ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been there with watching City play there quite a few times, but I've also been there once just as a neutral fan, just to watch Hereford.
That's right.
Willie Boland, funny enough, was playing for the opposition.
All right, okay.
Hartlepool, I think it was, in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
But so, and then of course you did you go to coaching later on at all, or did you try that at all, or no?
I after I finished at Newport, I had a spell at Gloucester City.
Yeah.
For about a season, but the travelling got too much for Gloucester. And I was working as a rep for a frozen food company as well, and the travelling just got too much.
Yeah.
So eventually, I came back and played for Bridgend.
Okay.
And I was looking after. I was in charge of the Welsh League side at Bridgend, which wasn't so much travelling like during the week, and just on matches. And then I had a couple of seasons there and finished up in Cairo, my stay. A couple of seasons up there, and then I thought, right, that's it. Time to finish.
I think Phil Dwyer went on to manage Bridgend for a while, didn't he?
I think he was connected there for a spell. Yeah. Down there as well.
I think I went there. I don't know. I used to work in Bridgend. I went to watch a match, and I think Phil Dwyer was the manager. I just distinctly remember him shouting quite colourfully at his fullback to put it in the stand.
Yes. I can well imagine. Yes, I can even say it myself now.
Looking back on your time with Cardiff City, because I mean, without embarrassing you, you are a Cardiff City legend. You genuinely are. The number of games you played for the club, and it's that era. I mean, I'm of a certain age.
Funny to say so, Steve.
No, I mean it. I genuinely. I mean, I often find. I know it's a funny thing. You tend to be stuck in your past, I suppose. You can't help it. I mean, I look back on that era as a special era.
Yeah. Oh, it was happy days. Yeah. Very much so.
Looking back on those days yourself as a player, have you got any regrets at all?
No, none whatsoever, to be honest. None whatsoever. No regrets at all. Loved every minute of it. And I mean, luckily for me, the Cardiff City fans accepted me straight away. Always thought, I gave 100%, which I always did. And if you do that for Cardiff City supporters, you're in. No problem.
Yeah. And you certainly did that. And you played, how many consecutive games did you play at your most?
I think one spell in the days of Davis, Garver, Sutton, Moriarty in that era. I think I played about 132 consecutive games.
I thought it was something crazy like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one or two of us did that actually. Because that back four hardly ever missed a game, through injuries or suspensions or whatever.
Yeah. So you were quite a hard bunch of individuals, but you managed to come out unscathed yourselves for a long period of time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I imagine there were a few trying to put a kick in on you as well.
Oh, a few had to go. Yeah. They were all sorted out quietly.
And Jimmy Schooler, as a manager, looking back on Jimmy Schooler now, if you had to kind of sum up the attributes of Jimmy Schooler, what made him such a good manager? Because he was a very good manager, wasn't he?
Great manager, yeah. I mean, he was 100%. He did everything at the club. I mean, as a manager in those days, they were expected to do everything, and Schooler certainly did that. I mean, I've seen the managers in recent times, and Matt Busby. I think Matt Busby was a similar sort of fella, quieter than Schooler, but then he got Bill Shankly. Right, and a couple of the boys, and they all seem to be Scottish, whatever.
Yes, and Ferguson, of course.
And of course, Alex Ferguson, another prime example. All in the same mould, all those four.
And I think towards the end, I don't think, if I remember, Jimmy Schooler wasn't particularly well treated by the club, actually.
No, he wasn't, to be honest. We were having a bit of a bad run at the time. But he certainly... He went and asked for a couple of quid to buy a player or two players, which was refused. So he had to make do with the squad he had. Yeah. And obviously the board got a little bit tired of the situation and replaced him.
Wanted to ask you, this is a silly question, but I asked Derek Brazil the same question, so I'll ask you this, Gary. Your taste in music.
Taste in music?
Yeah, maybe as a player and as now, maybe it's the same. I don't know.
I've always fancied country and western. I'm always in the country and western fan. In my early days, Everly Brothers, Elvis, of course.
Hmm.
But yeah, and then country and western music.
And when you were a player, like these days, you know, they've got the big ghetto blasters and they have the music going for it. Was that a thing in those days at all? Or no?
Oh, we had Jimmy Schooler.
Okay, yeah. So you had plenty of noise there with
that ghetto blaster.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I can imagine. Gary, and just to say as well, of course, since those days, you've retained a connection with the city as the city of Cardiff, but also the city as in Cardiff City, and you're still connected with the club to this day.
Yeah,
so,
I'm fortunate to be a hospitality host down there now on match day. Along with Derek Brazil. Derek and I, you know, we're great friends. We bounce off each other quite well. We do 2 floors on down the city during the game, during the match day. We do on level 2 the captain's lounge. It's quite a nice little lounge for about 70 people, I suppose. Like for special occasions, anniversaries, birthdays, whatever people want to come down for. So we have a great time in there. And then up to level 4, where it's all season ticket holders. We know probably most of them on first name terms, you know, but I mean, Derek is a great lad, as you know. I mean, Derek he's very quick, great wit, you know, very great entertainment and great company. And I'm fortunate to be working with him because we really get on well together. And I love it down there. It's great.
Well, that's nice. It's lovely. And I think Damon Sill, Roger Gibbons also involved in some capacity.
Roger Gibbons and David Giles do level 3.
Oh, David Giles now, is it?
David Giles, yeah.
Okay.
Keith Cooper was doing it up till the end of last season.
Yeah.
So because Keith Cooper's son got the manager's job at Swansea,
yeah,
he thought he might have a bit of stick if he continued down there. I don't think that would have happened, to be honest. But
no, I don't think so either.
But David Giles has stepped into the breach and he loves it. He's doing a great job.
Well, Gary, thank you very much. Thank you to Janet as well for her perseverance, and to your neighbour Gareth for stepping into the breach.
I'm Gareth next door, yeah. I'm not very good at these sort of things. This modern technology, Steve, I haven't got a clue, right? But Janet is my secretary stroke, whatever. Wow. As you can hear in the background, chuckling, you know.
Come and have a wave, Janet. Janet, come and say hello. Come on, wave.
Yeah, wants a wave.
Yeah, man, come have a little wave. Come on.
Oh, she's dying for the hairdresser to reopen, Steve.
Hey, well done. Thanks, Janet.
Thank you.
And Gary, thanks very much. Lovely to